Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show where I check to make sure everything's working. I'm going to hit start recording because you know what? You never know what kind of goodies, what little morsels we'll have to cut into short content to feed your lizard brains. I'm Patrick Marlette, your local game guy, and today I'm joined by Will. Hello, Will.
Sup?
So, this is just a test. You don't need to be here for this. Normally, there's sorcery content on Saturdays. Sorry, sorcery team. I would like to thank them for. There's nothing on here that's important. I'd like to thank them for sending this content for me. That's very sweet. Chase, if you're watching this, don't know why you would be. It's just a test. You don't need to watch this video. It's really, really considerate of you because I bitched and moaned about not getting any of the core cards in sorcery from my 3 boxes. And they're like, yeah, let's give us your address so we can send you a starter. And I guess they must have watched one of those videos because they send me a full box. They're like, well, we hope you pulled something. I'm like, well, I don't know. I hope you map these out better, bruh. I don't know what it is, but I got so many duplicates in like singular boxes where I got more than the amount of elites you would need, or more than the amount of, or whatever, like duplicates of foils to standard copies of the card in the same box is very weird, but very frustrating as a gamer who all he wants is those Moxen. All he wants are those cores. At any rate, Will, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Looking forward to showing off this game because I do thoroughly enjoy this. I'm a massive nerd when it comes to Heart Machine, and they're a good gaming company. They've only produced 2 games, but they're about to produce a third, and it looks cool.
Right, so on that note, you guys don't know what's going on. This is just a test. But gamers on games talking games. I don't know, I couldn't think of anything as clever as comedians in cars getting coffee. Not that it needs to be aping that title, but the whole concept here is we like playing games. This gives us an excuse to do that. But also, it's almost like a variation of Untapped, our podcast. And this isn't labeled as a podcast. I suppose it could be labeled as a podcast. But basically, we're going to be playing games. Will is volunteering today to play some Solar Ash. If you look at the gameplay, you're going to notice some on-screen elements from Discord. They won't be in there in the future. I'm sorry, okay? This is just a test. But in the future, I'll probably be playing the game. And it could be anything. It could really, literally be anything. But something that's in our backlog, something new, something long, like maybe we just have 3 years of this show and it's all Baldur's Gate 3. Who knows? Who knows? Because that game, that'll take a while. But Solar Ash, apparently Will can beat this game in an hour.
Hour 47 minutes, so closer to 2 hours, but our
He's being
podcasts
modest.
usually go longer than that, so
He's being modest, people. Exactly. I know exactly. We'll actually beat this before a regular podcast or FNM stream ends. But if you guys are new to the channel, we cover TCG content here. I really enjoy video games though, so I want to make something like this a staple on the program. And there's some cool on-screen elements for this. I'm going to change them up over time, hopefully add like graphics to them so they do fun things. But for now, this is just a test for this. But the basic concept, again, is to play a game, new or old, in Talk TCGs. Today we're going to be discussing MTG specifically. There is a ongoing poll discussing secret layers, and by discussing I mean simply asking the question, do you like secret layer drops? And I'm just going to put that poll here. For any of you that like Solar Ash, and also like Magic the Gathering, but MTG fans like SLDs, and you can let me know here in the comments. I know there's mixed opinions. Secret lair drops have been a thing for, God, it feels like since the age of the dinosaurs. Will it's there was such an outcry against them when they initially came out, and then now I think there's an acceptance of the fact. It's hard not to. It's like so
yeah.
prevalent, and there's so much cool stuff coming out that like I feel like people that even state that they don't like secret lair drops will agree that and have purchased particular secret lair drops that just tickled their fancy. But that's gonna be our first topic, and Will, obviously I'll toss the ball to you in a second. But you had something to say there. Sorry.
So I was gonna say, yeah, secret layers have been around for about 3 to 4 years, so they haven't been around horribly long, but they
There's
feel
so
like they've
much
been
of it
around
though,
for forever.
because there's so much of it. I'm gonna put this away again. Thank you, sorcery team, for sending this out. I promise I'll make content with it. I don't know if people like pack openings. We got to find a way to like, I don't know. I should devise a drinking game or something that's entertaining to watch, I suppose, around pack openings, because I find pack openings very boring. And like the feigned enthusiasm over getting like a 20-cent rare, it doesn't do anything for me. I like when we open packs between talking points. But all right, guys, here's what it's gonna look like. Here's the segment. Oh, not that. Oh, I don't know what the hell happened. The show before the show territory. This is where I get to figure out what the hell's going on. Is it working now? Hey, look at that. Woo! Okay, so I grew up with a old ass TV that looked kind of like this. You kids, you wouldn't know what any of this is. That weird frame, the wood veneer. None of this matters to you. But I'm gonna change some elements. The element under the LGG logo is kind of wonky in my opinion. It's like steel grating. I had some other things I was testing. Do you like that koa wood though? The koa wood where the knobs are. At any rate, hopefully this is entertaining for you. Again, ignore the on-screen elements of Discord. Will, tell us about Solar Ash. What makes this game so good?
So, to give the general concept, the game is just a platforming adventure game. Your goal is to basically solve these parkour puzzles, to kill these monsters called remnants, to activate or to reconnect these relays to activate a device called the Starseed to save your home planet. That is the long and short of it. There's a whole mystery element to it, a whole like weirdly chill vibe, and a whole theme of like kind of accepting death, accepting that like things happen in life and you have to keep moving forward and all that kind of stuff. It's a game that has really good themes, really good music, a really good story, really good twists, and really good gameplay.
Okay, nice. That seemed like a pretty good summary to me. You don't have to go to Wikipedia anymore, folks. All you got to do now is enjoy the gameplay. Hopefully, the juice says yes and no. Secret layers. I should have added a maybe option, I guess. Yes, because I like and appreciate the amount of artists that have been exposed in SL. I 100% agree. And there are some that are carried over into main sets, whether for special promotional cards or whatnot. So it is very cool. Also, just showcasing new artists, because I feel like WotC has their staple, crew of artists for sets. Casual players have been paying for and printing alt arts forever. Yes. It's funny you say that, the juice, but Justin, friend of the show and a longtime 99er, he has a cube that is completely altered by a variety of artists from across the world, some of which have been featured in Secret Layers, and he's gotten their art before they were featured, and it's so cool to see them get the respect and appreciation in actual, cardboard. But I don't like how long Secret Layers take, nor having new cards have such a short availability window. Oh, how long they take to ship? Will, let me know, because I know Devin from PubStomp MTG, like, he ordered his Jurassic World Secret Layers, and he got all that stuff immediately. Let me know how long it takes you to get your Doctor Who Regeneration set.
Yeah, I ordered my Doctor Who stuff about like a week or two ago. I messaged you when I ordered it, and then it said it's gonna arrive in like April.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Well, that's weird. I don't know why that's gonna take so long, but yeah, the juice can verify. Might take a minute. But yeah, Will, feel free to start this up and then we can jump into topics. Again, we're gonna find the flow of this as we go with this. But I hope you enjoy. Maybe. You don't have to even. You don't have to enjoy this. This could be awful. Will says there's an amazing cutscene. So
I didn't say amazing cutscene. I said there's a cutscene.
Verbatim, he said amazing to me off camera. I can't verify. I swear. Okay, I'm only gonna read the pink words: Ultra Void, consuming another planet, Starseed.
I mean, pretty much that's all that you really need. It's pretty much you're on the edge of this giant black hole called the Ultra Void. It's trying to consume your planet, except you have a thing called the Starseed to destroy the Ultra Void. You guys are called the Void Runners, and your job is to stop this stuff from happening. Your main character is Ray, and you're basically lagging behind on your team and about to jump into this massive freaking black hole.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Why? Yeah, there's no audio. What the heck?
I'm getting audio, Will,
Oh, you're getting audio. Okay, good.
and the audience is getting audio, and we're the only
Oh,
people
it's
that
because I have
matters.
streamer mode on, so it's disabling my audio. Okay, that makes
Oh,
sense.
are there auditory cues that you need to hear or something?
Not really. It would be helpful, so I'm probably gonna quickly tell it to. Oh, I forgot that we meet Echo immediately. I'll.
It's a really
Yeah,
bad
we
sewing
just fucking
accident. Huh?
yeah, we just fucking die in the starting cutscene. I forgot that we meet Echo immediately.
Isn't that
I'm
like
gonna let
Soul
it do.
Reaver? I'm just gonna call them out. They're copying Soul Reaver. Doesn't like what's his name? He Azrael. He gets his wings removed. I don't know if he dies. Does he die? I haven't played Soul Reaver in ages. Sorry. I remember Legacy of Kain more than I remember Soul Reaver for some reason.
I'm gonna see if I can. And I'm waiting for the.
Oh, are you waiting for
There we
streamer
go.
mode
Okay,
to...
I'm gonna disable streamer mode so I can hear. Because
Okay.
hopefully that. Can I
All
hear
right,
now?
guys. So
I cannot hear. Okay. Weird.
Will is gonna illustrate some amazing Solar Ash gameplay. This is how he would speedrun. By faffing about. I'm just kidding. You don't need to speedrun this. Really, take your time. Be
I
leisure.
mean,
But Will, what are
I've
your...
not played.
What's that?
I've not played this in a bit, so I'm trying to relearn the controls. But yeah, I don't have audio for some reason.
Oh, well, take
I
your
have
time.
vibrations on those, so it's fine. So, long and short, I know all the controls, so I don't need to actually do what they're telling me to do to learn stuff. But you have a skate button, which is kind of like your run button. You have a dash button, which you can do while skating to get extra speed, and then outside of that's jump, slash, and then you have a I can't remember. Is it which button is it? Yeah, there we go. We have a B, which is
Bullet time.
pretty much it's like Chrono Time or something like that.
We all
And
know what
then
it
now we
is.
meet this black goo.
And the goo is something that you can climb up. I've
Yeah.
definitely seen gameplay of this. I've never played
Oh, I
it,
forgot.
but I've seen
I thought
gameplay
I
of
was
this.
gonna meet the side character here, but no, I forgot we see the Starseed and see the gravity's kind of weird.
Starseed, by the way, a card from Sorcery, Contested Realm. Buy yours today. Through the link in the description. We don't have a link for you, I'm sorry. But yeah, Will, what would
Uh
Ray think? What would Ray think of secret lair
Hold on.
drops?
Oh, I'm just not getting any audio from anything right now. That's
Yeah,
part of the issue.
you're not getting audio from me.
So, hold on.
Oh,
I, I'm not hearing anything on my computer. Okay,
that
well,
explains so
anyways,
much. See, like I said, this is all, you know how normally, guys, we have a show before the show? Well, we're going to say this whole thing is the show before the show. Will, can you hear
yeah,
me at all?
yeah, so I can hear you. Oh, hold up. I know why. It's because I'm still in streamer mode, but I clicked a thing thinking it took me out of streamer mode, but it did not. Wait, why is it? Okay. All right. Whatever. I guess I'm just playing with no volume.
You can hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Alright, so I'm pretty much with you, the Juice, on secret lair drops. I'm fine with them. I don't know if I'm ever going to go out of my way for any particular drops. My main issue with SLDs, and I'll be tracking the community post to go over some commentary from our general audience as well. I feel like my qualm with secret lair drops is that I don't stay up to date on all of them, and there are so many of them yearly, quarterly, that to be frank, I miss a lot of the ones I would have wanted to buy into, and then I wind up buying them as singles and like lose a lot of money or just get, I don't know. It sucks because I am an art buyer. I know Will doesn't necessarily care about art except for in some instances, but me
It's a card that
personally,
I
like,
use.
right,
It's a
but
card I
for
primarily care about in the deck because for like a Sasaya, for instance, I'd probably foil out Cultivator Colossus at some point, and
hmm,
I have a foil Wakeroot Elemental and Sylvanas' Invoker, which are my win cons.
for me, it's like, I don't know, if it's a deck that I am playing in paper, I 100% want to get my favorite copies of the art for that deck. Because if it's something that I'm going to be playing often and seeing often, I want to look at and appreciate what I'm looking at
By the way, so here's
often.
a massive door to another location and creepy aura.
Oh, you can't
So
go in there yet?
it can't go in there yet.
Okay. Region locked, but not in that
Yep.
sense.
I'm just
Oh,
gonna
you know what we
get.
should play? You know what would be difficult to play and have conversation over is Monster Hunter. Have you ever played Monster Hunter?
I played a little bit of it, but not enough to actually get a good feel of it.
There's some moments in between where you could definitely get conversation in, but yeah. But yeah, Will, what are your overall thoughts on Secret Lair drops? I know you've bought two in the history of
Yeah,
Wizards of the
I
Coast
bought
SLDs.
specifically Walking Dead because of the exact same reason everybody else bought Walking Dead, and then
Such an
I
oddity,
bought.
just a
Hmm?
complete oddity. And also, I guess was any of it because you thought, in the future Glenn might be the best
Well,
legendary for commander,
so
or and you
I
were worried
knew
about them not.
I knew
Oh,
Rick was going to be disgusting. I knew Glenn was like just kind of good, but my issue was that I'm like, well, this is literally a second reserve list, so I need to buy the cards now.
mm, yeah. Speaking of FOMO, Mateus just mentioned that
Oh,
Secret Lair's new FOMO incentive feels desperate. Still have to get the Thassa's Oracle. I forget how long the window was on that initial Secret Lair drop, the Walking Dead one. I remember I kind of bided my time though, and I wound up acquiring it at my relative leisure. I knew I wanted it when I saw it because of the mechanically unique shit, but I never played any of them. They remain sealed, so I don't
well,
know.
I just killed the first remnant,
Oh, that was
and
easy.
we saw the boss get pissed off at me.
Is this a Bubblegum Valley you're in right now?
It's it's like it has an actual name to it, but it's basically just the first section of the Ultra Void. I
Gotcha,
could
gotcha.
kill these enemies before going here to make my life easier, but I'm not going to. This is
Let's
just a
see.
timed section where I have to get here to
So,
hit the remnant to clear the section, but I played it enough. I know how to deal with all this stuff. I don't need to worry.
so Mateus, sorry, apologies for not having the Thassa's Oracle SLD. I didn't even know there was one for it. And it will probably be the cost of the entire SLD to purchase it single, I'm going to assume. Or anything that's generally playable goes up in value. Like Walking Ballista, that went up. It's obnoxious. Juice says, I agree. However, I don't think that's an SL thing. I think that's just a Magic thing in general, in gaming in general. What, FOMO? Yeah, I mean, it happens with anything that's collectible. I think that, this idea that there's a scarcity of these things, or there's a time limit where you can acquire them, that is intimidating for players. And it sucks when you miss that window if you are a fan of said artist. They're already paid. Like, do you imagine these artists are getting a commission off Secret Lair drops? Like, if we sell 100 of these, then you get this much. No, they're probably just paid for the illustrations. So really, the only people that are making real money off of this is Hasbro Wizards of the Coast. I have to imagine. I don't know what that like payment model looks like, but so far as general audience is concerned, a dark light says, like the idea of secret layers. I don't buy them very often though. I've bought 3 different secret layers. This is one more than you will. 3x of the Pride one. The Pride one. Oh, that's cool. Because of the charity. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I do remember that actually. Soul Ring and Mana Confluence. Picked up Creep Show because I use every one of those cards in my zombie deck, and there wasn't a zombie master art that I liked. Yeah, it's funny how the SLDs, like Grafdigger's Cage is fine. The only Grafdigger's Cage I like is the SLD one, and that's the one I own and play with. The last one I picked up through the Wormhole lair just because the cards were pretty and I would use them. Most of the time I just buy singles I need want from lairs I like. So I generally will buy singles for the TCGs I play, but man, I've been such an idiot with One Piece, dude. One Piece is like become so collectible. If you don't play One Piece, that's okay. It's just another TCG that's out right now. But as of recording this live stream, people are doing massive buyouts on a lot of older secret rares, super rares, and alter arts of the leader cards that you need to play the game. And prices have just skyrocketed on everything, dude. Things that are relatively worthless or unplayed but especially the playable ones have just skyrocketed in value. Again, this is kind of like what we were hinting at earlier. You know, this FOMO with all these new people getting into the game and collecting, and with the actual scarcity of those earlier sets being available, people like with any and every TCG. Oh crap! People with any TCG are leveraging this opportunity to. Fuck. Here, I'm gonna reduce that.
Was it too loud?
You're really loud now too. I don't know
Oh
why you're.
no.
It's fine. It's fine. I got you.
It's probably because my computer's freaking out because I just reset it up, so now a bunch of stuff's probably wrong with my computer, and I'm gonna have to fix that over the next
No, you're
couple
good.
days.
You're good. I hear you now. That part got really loud though. Yeah. I can up the gameplay a little bit more. That seemed to help a little bit. But yeah, One Piece right now, getting into it if you're a newer player sucks, and I'm sorry. You know, I really wish that they would do more. You know, honestly, I would go for made to order reprints of stuff. Like they've done specialty drops that are exclusive on their Bandai Namco website. It's a real pain in the ass to like keep track of the inventory of everything. But they've reprinted a handful of things in special art. But for all the stuff that comes from main sets, like I'll buy boxes of this product just because you know, I want to be involved in that process as well. And like, who doesn't enjoy opening packs of cards? But I generally will go for singles. It doesn't make any sense to buy boxes. If you're trying to hit something very specifically, it doesn't make sense to buy boxes. Like, I very specifically have been waiting, like biding my time to get this card. I'll show it off to you, Will. You're not gonna care. You might not care. So this guy, Sakazuki from One Piece, he is like the
He's one of the
leader.
generals. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the it leader though from this set. Enel and Purple Luffy are also notable, but Sakazuki is racking in so many wins and will only get better with OPO 6. So that's one of those leaders that if you're looking at the trends so far as that game is concerned, it will never dip below $100 in my opinion. And if it does, it won't be for long. And if it does, buy it at that point. But I mean, I bought that outright with store credit, but I would have rather done that than buy another box because I would have gotten so much chaff that I'm probably going to give away or maybe toss even, which I hate to say. I don't know how you feel about loose cards from packs that you know you're never going to play with and are really just there for the limited environment. Do you keep your loose cards? Or do
I
you...
have like a bulk storage bin.
That's really good of you. Will, do you run a retirement home for these cards as well? Can I send you mine? I've got so many for you. I've got so many for you, Will. I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah,
I'm
like I can't use it now. That doesn't mean I'll never be able to use it, so I might as well just keep it. Also, you can always find a use for like a random magic card here or there to do whatever.
Okay, well, because of the ambassador program, I'm contractually obligated to say
First
I hold
boss
on to.
needed, by the way.
I hold on to all my magic cards. Okay. Oh, you can watch this cutscene. Any major moment.
Does it automatically play out, or do I have to press next to have it say the next line? I have to press next. Sorry if the audio's cutting off. I can't hear it, so I don't know when it's actually done talking.
Oh, you're good. I can hear it. I'll let you know. There. Oh, you can just let it run. You can just let it run.
No, I'm pressing the thing.
So, Zero says, regarding Secret Layers, when it's just alternative art cards, I like it, but there's never any way for me to know when they come out. I guess, can't you just be signed up for the email notifications? Like, that should let you know every new release, right? Yeah. So I missed them, and I just feel salty for cards I wanted but missed for arbitrary release windows. That's fair. That seems fair. Mateus says, yeah, I got a full art foil mental misstep Secret Lair at a convention just because it was mispriced. The card is so expensive. Did you manage to get two? Because I actually will play it now, Mateus. I'll take an extra copy. Oh, who's that?
Ray, you made it. Sid, the Ultra Void is now dead. I'm just glad
So now we're getting the explanation of go and kill the other giant monsters to get everything activated.
If you didn't figure it out yet, that thing you murdered, you're gonna want to murder the rest of them too.
Yeah. Also, that was one of the smaller things, and since I
Hmm.
beat the game, I have that this equipment, which is all the other equipment combined. So
Ooh. Are you gonna run
it's
it?
yeah, it just makes me move a lot faster, and it lets me one tap the weaker enemies.
It just looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Then we
lie, it
move.
looks a little bit like a wedding veil, that headpiece. It's her hair? Their hair?
Yeah, it's her hair. So she's an alien, like that's supposed to be smoke. Uh, but the funny thing is, you'll bump into a thing that is functionally like a human skeleton at some point, and your character, if you with it, she'll just comment like, "Two eyes? Dang, that's unfortunate for that creature." Because if you look at the character, three eyes. So that's the
Three
whole
eyes
bit.
is Three eyes is probably better. I have to
Yeah,
imagine.
extra depth perception. And now we're introduced into the second area. And once I do this whole parkour section, we'll meet the boss.
I'm not gonna lie, folks. When Dragon's Dogma comes out, Dragon's Dogma 2, I should say, I'll probably play it on here. I cannot wait for that. But we've got an interesting topic just generated in the chat here, which we can carry on with. I Okay, so Will, here's the question.
Yep.
Can true made to order singles ever work in TCGs?
Uh, the issue is that you're going to need to get specific cards ordered, and it's going to kind of mess up the assembly line.
It's
Because the
gonna
reason
kill pack
why
sales. Don't you imagine it'll kill like
it'll kill
sealed
pack
product?
sales, but if you make a trading card game that you can just order singles from the company specifically, like let's say that, so they acknowledge like the game plan isn't sell a ton of packs. Um, though, like the issue is that you're going to have preset production lines for specific cards, specific sets, and then when that set's done printing, you stop the production lines. That's what most organizations do. And that means that, unfortunately, if you're trying to make printing singles a thing for your company or for your game, you're going to have to keep those assembly lines up, or you're going to have to
Mm.
need a diverse assembly line to kind of fix that issue. Where's the next one? Oh, it's right there. Okay.
I feel like they're already building the infrastructure to kind of do what you're talking about with secret lair drops. Like if there was how cool would that be if like dude, the FOMO would be so real, but like if around, I don't know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like that time of year, they have an open print 5 cards you want in any art we've ever featured that aren't on the reserve list. We'll get them printed for you and shipped to your door for $89.99. It could be non-foil, foil, just like 5 cards you ever wanted. And really people will just get like, you know, force of will, the shit that's expensive.
Yeah.
But if they're making $89.99 for cards that, you know, realistically, the actual cost of cardboard costs them nothing to produce. Like pennies relative to how much some of these things cost, like as singles on a card market. I feel like that would be that day they would just get so much money. So many more people would be laid off. Bonuses for the executives would be so much higher. Like they would make a lot of money doing that. I don't know though how realistic that concept is though. Because they want to sell sealed product, right? And they've been trying to find ways, at least if we're looking at Magic the Gathering, they've been trying to find ways to make that more accessible for players, right? So they have draft boosters, collector boosters, and then set boosters, right? So a variety of ways you can get the singles you need in a way that is more specified for the actual gamer. So I think that's sort of what they're leaning towards instead of obviously doing singles direct to consumer, which is kind of what the secret lair market is anyways. But if you could request the singles and get them directly, because it's kind of annoying, I don't know, like the argument that proxies is this kind of it would eliminate the issue or argument with proxies, I guess, although the prices would probably be outlandish if you were buying singles directly from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
But you know, it's about accessibility in a lot of cases. And realistically, a lot of people can't afford those staple items. And I'm not even talking about RL cards at this point. I'm just talking about staple cards in present formats that cost $30+, where it's unrealistic for someone to get those 4 copies or buy boxes or packs to find those 4 copies they need. In Commander, obviously, I would be referring to this as singles. It would be kind of cool to have direct to consumer singles, and then it would sort of like get around that issue with proxies. Like, well, you can spend X more and get the real card, but I don't really have any issues with proxies to begin with, so But in a tournament setting, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's so
theoretically, you could have a setup with something like Make playing cards, which is I'm going to be honest, it's the company that I always use when I ask to get proxies made.
MPC,
So,
yeah.
and with them, they make whatever you need because they have the dynamic printing setup that I was talking about to be able to make whatever whenever.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can do it, Wizards of the Coast can also probably do it.
Yeah, it's a question of whether they want to do it.
Here's
They
a capsule with one of my team members who is going to the Ultra Void with me, so it just has him read off his last log. So I got part of his suit.
Which you already have, apparently?
Yeah, so I already have all the upgrades, because if you beat the game on all your other save files, you get the suit so that you can kind of speed through it a little bit easier. Let's see if I can do this. Fancy movement, let's go.
Nice. Direct-to-consumer sales are dependent on market value. Art is not universal, but value is. Right. I mean, you can kind of see that, Mateus, with what these SLDs are, what they're composed of, right? So you'll see oftentimes there's like a secret layer drop, dude, where 1 out of the 5 cards is playable, like actually playable, and then the other 4 are just novelties or things that are okay, but refreshed. And like maybe that excites you, or maybe you're playing some sort of popper variant, or maybe there's an excuse for the cards. But generally speaking, at least as a commander player, most of the secret layer drops don't appeal to me because a lot of the singles in them don't have anything that I necessarily need and or want, right? And then again, like just buy your standard copy, I suppose. But they'd make infinite money on the back end, production hell on the front end. Yeah. But good topic, guys. Thank you for that suggestion. So the next topic I want to talk about, Will, and you play a lot of stacks. When should you play? When should you play Rule of Law effects, Will? Audience, when should you play Rule of Law effects? So it's interesting. Like, what decks want this Deafening Silence? Obviously, there's at least in Commander, there are deck variants, and one of the main ones is stacks, although I wouldn't say it's heavily played, and people usually just splash a little bit of stacks. But it's funny because we wrote down these topics a while ago. But when should you play Rule of Law effects, Will? When is it most appropriate?
So for Rule of Law, it's best used when you aren't trying to do some kind of very clear combo, or when you can do a combo where you can play out the pieces by themselves over a couple turns. I guess, because an example is like Thoracle. Thoracle, you don't want to use Rule of Law effects if you're trying to do a Thoracle win most of the time. But if you're trying to do something like kind of like a weird A plus B plus C thing like Abdel, where you can do Restoration Angel at instant speed to flicker Abdel, and if you have something under Abdel, you can do a combo to draw your whole deck, and you can use channel effects to get out of your Rule of Law effect. That's a great time to play Rule of Law. So it's specifically, it's hard to say, but it is pretty contingent on whatever you're trying to win or use to win for your deck.
Yeah, I mean, there's similar things in other games. Rule of Law specifically, though, for the World of Magic the Gathering is 1 spell per turn, and there are variations on this effect. I mentioned Deafening Silence a second ago. Deafening Silence is non-creature spells, if I'm not mistaken. One I actively use still in my Oswald deck is either Sworn Canonist, because I can totally get away with it. So like this is the other side of that coin Will was referring to. If you can play around it, if you can play around it entirely, like if your deck is consistently going to cast the one thing that is acceptable, then like 100% you should include it. So even in Oswald, right, and there are other excuses to run Rule of Law effects in Oswald. It is monocolor, so there is space for it. But if your deck can allow for it and it doesn't hamper your own combo lines, right, or your own play lines, I should say, you don't even need to be winning the game. So provided you're able to actively participate in the game more over your opponents, then it makes sense to Rule of Law someone out. You know, I know there's everyone's sighs. There's always like a collective sigh or just general disdain for stacks when it's played. And I think that's why we brought this topic up. One of the issues with stacks is if you are actively using stacks, but not working to play around them yourself or using them poorly, it could be frustrating for everyone, right? I've seen people run lists where you'll do the shit that hampers everyone, and it's hampering you as excessively or equally, and it's like, well, what's going on? Like, if it's not going to help you advance your own game plan, or you're not able to play around it yourself, like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Does that logic? Yeah. I mean, I guess you could still do it. You could still be that person. It's like no one's, telling you no, but it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to play certain stacks pieces that hamper you really hard. It's like with what is it called? Non-bow. Like not like it's a non-bow, or if it's a non-bow with your strategy in general, or if it's just like slowing down everything you want to do. Because I see a lot of people who will hold on to a Rule of Law correctly, so just so that they don't prevent their next explosive turn, but then they'll wait and then play Rule of Law right after.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mateus brings up an interesting point here with Rule of Law effects. So my problem with Rule of Law effects, index, is that it makes the games an armament race, where you're just holding interaction for when the stacks piece is gone. And this is true of any stacks piece, you know what I mean? Like, it could be it's generally, though, Rule of Law effects, and you're absolutely right. There's this collective understanding around the table that once this gets popped, everyone's going to try to do their thing over top of it, or stop a player from doing their thing while it's gone. So, you're actively waiting for someone to participate with a spell, right? Let's just say, you've been holding this, it's your one spell per turn, and you've been holding your Brainstorm or whatever. And you play your Brainstorm. That's the opportunity. Oh my god, now I'm going to remove the Rule of Law effect, so when it comes to my turn, I can do the thing. But then there's two other people you need to be concerned with, and maybe they were holding off and waiting on you doing that. And this back and forth can go on for like several turns if people are just pulling all the right answers. Like, all that shit can just prolong the game for a horrible length of time. Yeah, I get that. It's I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't allow for fast gameplay or more, would you say, enjoyable? Does it bother you when a game extends like 30 minutes longer than it actively needs to?
When you can't be proactive in a game, it's infuriating. Like, if it's just draw, maybe play land, pass turn, that can be infuriating. But I like the Rule of Laws kind of balance it, because they don't prevent people from playing the game. They just prevent them from taking explosive turns. So it's kind of more like punishing someone for not running enough removal, or for going into a too greedy of a gameplay strategy. Or maybe,
yeah, I get that.
Because casual players don't hate Rule of Law, actually. Most casual players I played against are totally fine with Rule of Law, because they're going to be going super greedy into their strategies so they can play one big bomb spell that's going to flip the whole game.
I guess it's more us filthy CDH players that actively care, I guess.
That's why we play Rule of Law, though. It's so good, and crap, I gave way too much momentum.
Well, here's my thing, though. Like, when I play Rule of Law effects in the decks that I play Rule of Law effects in, I'm generally able to win over them. So it's not a problem for me. Like that standoff you're talking about, I'll wait to build up my armaments too. But it's like, well, I've got maybe 3 things I can do over this, while you might have potentially 1. And, you know, the shape of the game is changing in that there are really good channel effects now, too, just getting pushed out there, which is great. I want to see more channel effects. But that also does affect play patterns around rule of law effects. Like, you need to consider, like, oh, they're holding up channel mana, so they could potentially get one more thing in before, you know, getting nuked or having their whole plan break. It's good. I think the state of the game, it's in a healthy place right now. And I'm happy to say that. Like, pretty much every TCG I'm playing right now is in a healthy place. Like, Sorcery, for its first set, is fine. I think there are certain lists that are just not as good as others. So there are, and that's true of any game. Like, there are going to be legendaries in the command zone that are just actively better. There are going to be avatars that you can participate and play Sorcery with that are just going to be better. And then with One Piece, I don't know, there is some leaders, like, it was so red heavy for the last 4 sets. All of the best top ranking playable leaders were red specifically, and now you barely see any red leaders taking home wins. It's honestly nice to see, but there's this balancing act with every game, and that's just based off of the effects they're printing out. And so far as like handling a rule of law, it's not so bad anymore. But you are absolutely right. I do hate that standoff. When I'm not the one playing the rule of law effect, it feels less good.
That's kind of my love and hate relationship with Livia Ludwig, which is the ultimate Mexican standoff deck, because the idea is that you use rule of law to slow down the game, Ludwig to keep everybody's hands full, so everybody has like 3 pieces of interaction for anything that anybody wants to do, and then you have Livio to kind of cheat things in response to the game being locked down, and it does what it wants to do very efficiently. The problem is that it is so infuriating to play against. So, yeah, it is a love-hate relationship with that deck.
Have I played against this deck?
No, you have not. I played it like 2 times and then threw it away because it was just horrible to play against, or even to play with to some extent. It wins really well because it's just guys, so you have all the 1-card wins that you could possibly want. But
right.
The issue is that it makes some games take forever, and it's always like draw past turns. And the worst part is, you cannot remove the rule of law effects, because if you do, Livio exiles and returns the rule of law effect immediately.
Ooh, people must love that.
Yeah.
The Juice says
when you don't play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, no, that's why we all sat together today. So the Juice says, it's like mass land destruction. If you're firing it off with no plan, now everyone is miserable. Fact. You know, it's funny, like, I don't mind mass land destruction. Carmen might run really well with mass land destruction. Did we talk about this? I feel like you know what? Because we built Carmen, and then we didn't include, like, the balancing acts or all of the mass sacrifice things. But she would really thrive in a world where balance is included, right? Anything that says this, you know, player sacrifices, but she'll get individual triggers. It's not whenever 1 or more players sacrifice, right? So she would just get really buff, be the biggest thing, start reanimating shit. Like, her with MLD or her with any sort of mass destruction. I know it's still taboo to run mass land destruction in Commander, even on a CDH level. CDH. Yeah, it's weird. People get really pissy when you destroy their resources.
The thing is, in like CDH, it's because it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't create any kind of game plan that you can play into for a win. It's just you blew up all the lands. Well, what do we do now?
Well,
rebuild for 4 turns.
But Carmen will let you enjoy it though, because here's my game plan. I'm gonna blow up all your shit. If you don't have removal for her right now, I'm gonna start killing you 1 by 1. Because there's no way she's not a 21/21, right? At that point.
Yeah, depending. Because if you use Armageddon, that's destroy. That's not going to do the whole thing. But Cataclysm
no.
specifically.
Yeah, Cataclysm. Sorry, this is where we would normally put it on the screen, but.
Yeah, well, you said Cataclysm, but I'm saying for mass land destruction, people usually go to Armageddon.
Yeah, each player chooses then also, sacrifices the rest.
2 things. So, 1, Patrick, there's your Shadow of the Colossus moment.
Yeah, it's also giving me Breath of the Wild. There's
Yeah.
the, you know, the
It's a
dragon.
very like open-esque world. At least for the first few sections, it becomes a lot more linear in the later levels. But then, secondly, here's the other thing, because that is our companion's ghost-ish,
Mm.
kind of glitching out next to us. So you're gonna have to tell me when it's done playing, because I still can't hear it.
It's going to set everything right. Figure if I've got to die, this Vista is as good a place as any to do it. I'm just sorry we couldn't make it out of here, girl. Goodbye, Ultra Void. You won't be missed.
Yeah, we're there. We're there.
Okay. So, and now we got another piece of his armor. But yeah, so for some reason, one of our buddies is just glitched out in this weird frickin' state and is just suffering eternal torment, and we don't know why.
Oh, you never learn. It just.
I mean, we learn eventually, and that's one of the twists of the game, because there's like
Mhm.
two major twists.
So again, guys, this is all show before the show territory with this one. I hope you're enjoying today's Gamers on Games playing games. But I'll have like everything on a knob next time. And this was very, I want to say slapdash. I was up early making elements for this, but I want to revise everything probably after this stream. But you know what's cool conceptually with this, just a little break from the show? What's cool about this concept is we could literally be playing Commander on Spell Table here and be talking with people that are participating with us. It could be this, it could literally just be this with any game. We also have Tabletop Simulator, which you guys have seen. I also just have One Piece. Like we could do whatever, but I want to try to keep it digital. Initially, when I was thinking of this concept, I was considering games that had like deck building mechanics or cards or any sort of D&D-esque mechanics, so like a Neverwinter Nights or like a Baldur's Gate. Any of that stuff would do. So if you guys have suggestions about new games or old games that you've never seen played or you've got in your backlog that you want to see played, let us know. Happy to incorporate it into the future episodes. This might be a one-of with Solar Ash, but we could do a day where we just like speed run this game again, or properly speed run this with a timer. There's room on this TV to have a timer. It's a little weird when it comes to MLD, says Mateus. We can run any type of meltdown effect and mass permanent removal, but do not touch my lands. Even when most of the mana is coming from artifacts. You know, yeah, it's kind of true. Do you agree? Will, what do you think is the percentage of the average deck of mana that comes from alternative sources as opposed to lands? Like, what is the ratio of alternate mana to land mana?
On average, you usually get like, and I'm not gonna count like Mana Vault or anything like that, because that's temp mana. But
Yeah, that is
you
temporary
usually,
mana.
Ooh, I need a dash. Sorry, but you usually get about like, from my experience, 60% lands, 40% other sources for the most part. But
Hmm.
that can change depending on the deck, because I think for like my Zur deck, that is in no way the case. But for most of my other decks, that's a pretty accurate number, like 60% lands, 40% everything else.
I would say more or less, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is again excluding any of that sort of one and done kind of ramp. But if you have ways to untap your mana vault, then sure, you could obviously consider that. Like if it's something you're consistently doing in your list, you can
Yeah, but
consider
I
that.
consider my Manifold Key a Mana Rock instead of my Mana Vault at that point.
Right. Like that's, dude, I freaking love cards like that though. You know, I actually do evaluate the Voltaic Servants highly. It really depends on the deck. Like clearly not every list and really rarely many would want a Voltaic Servant, but things like Voltaic Key and Manifold Key, those have so much value in lists that you know you're going to be utilizing Mana Rocks in. Like you use it in Arkham Daxam. I don't know if you use it in Zur or would want to use it in Zur. Probably not. It's non-essential.
Nah,
But
you need
artifacts,
like a very linear game plan for Zur and like a very smooth down everything. You
yeah.
run more removal than anything else in that deck, because you just want to have backups upon backups upon backups and the ability to get through any stacks early.
So Silas Wren is an artifact.
Oh, and cutscene.
Legendary. How many artifact legendaries in the command zone would benefit from a manifold or voltaic key? That's my question to you, the audience, and you, Will.
Very few.
Sadly, right?
Any more than you.
It's not impossible. I'm going to save my people.
Everything? You risk more than your own life, child.
I welcome them. If it means I can stop my planet from being...
Oh, yes, of course. You think this was a decision. Then enjoy your freedom.
You can skip past this if you want, Will. It's okay.
There we go. Okay. Cutscene's over.
When Silas Wren deals combat damage, I don't know, if you want a death touch blocker, it's useful. It just gives it vigilance. Nah, doesn't make sense to run it in Silas Wren. At any rate, Will, we've got one more topic we want to cover, and then we can sort of just free ball for the rest of the stream. But guys, how are you doing? Hopefully you're enjoying the content. If you are, I highly encourage you to leave it with a like. Come on, come on. Yeah. It goes a long way. And I love streaming on this platform, and I would like to do it more consistently. So if you guys enjoy this, it tells me I should do it more consistently. But yeah, leave it a like if you enjoy this content. Obviously, leave a comment for any suggestions you might have for this form of content. Again, this is just a test. Like, none of you should be here watching this, but I appreciate that you are. And hopefully you're enjoying Will's gameplay as well. Feel free to comment on his prowess at the game, or lack thereof. If you're a Solar Ash Master, feel free to give Will some tips.
You're bad, you're trash.
It's really
you
what
missed that jump, you're trash.
That's what I'm fishing for. Like, you thought no one was watching? I saw. Dude, you totally died on that boss fight. All right, Will. This is one that we've had in the piggy bank for a while, and one that I'm definitely going to ask the audience. I'm definitely going to ask this. So I'm going to end the poll on secret lair drops. How do you guys feel on secret lair drops? 83% of you say yes, you are a fan of secret lair drops. All right, duly noted. I want to, yeah, as feedback for the shows, this really feels like those TikToks with the Subway Surfer on the background. Well, it could just be specifically Solar Ash giving that vibe, because it is kind of like watching a three-dimensional Subway Surfer. Instead of an on-rails Subway Surfer, I guess.
Well, I mean, I just went through the entire rail grinding section, so that is probably part of it.
I'm here for the conversation. The gameplay keeps me engaged. There you go. I would recommend Slay the Spire. Shut the fuck.
Yeah, Slay the Spire. Another one that I was thinking was Pirate Outlaws, which is another version of Slay the Spire.
So Justin has like 600 to 700 hours in that game. Like, he's played Slay the Spire for years, and he's been trying to convince me to play Slay the Spire for years. I'm just like, I don't know. It's something about the art style just doesn't appeal to me. No offense. I watched them. I watched some pals play it recently with like mods on PC, and it looked cool. It looks fine. I gotta say, the aesthetic, game aesthetic does matter to me somewhat. But the gameplay looks really good, so maybe we'll try Slay the Spire. That's so funny you should mention it, though. He's been trying to drag me into it for a while. I know Will play Slay the Spire as well. How many hours have you clocked in? As many as Justin?
Not very many. Like, I doubt that I have more than 10 hours in it.
Okay. Beneath Oresa is a Slay the Spire that is really good. Art style is great. Beneath Oresa. I will into that. Yeah, so right now, personally, game-wise, I'm on Cyberpunk 2077, specifically with the expansion. So, I mean, we can always play that too. It's very story-driven, so there's a lot of dialogue happening all the time. So I would prefer a game that has little to less dialogue, little to less to no dialogue. I realize that those are pretty much on the same level. But something with less dialogue, or something where it's a multiplayer game, but it allows for conversation. Does that make sense? Like, so, yeah. like playing Commander casually with you guys could be this, but that's what FNM is anyways. So maybe we should put lipstick on this FNM. Would you guys enjoy this kind of framework? Would it tease your brain into thinking you're engaging with, you know, that what is it called, the Subway Surfer content on TikTok? I totally agree though. I get those TikToks all the time where it's like you're watching it, but there's like a guy constructing something out of clay on the left side, and then you're
Or
watching
like
like a
shaving soap or something along the lines of that. Like it's just something that it's like neurons being fired.
right, and then on the other side it's like a political conversation or something very heated. Or it's like something very atrocious, and you're like, why am I still here? I'm really here for the guy making the Play-Doh art, not this conversation. But yeah, it does. It's oddly work. At any rate, so our next and last topic, guys, and this is one that I wanted you to actively participate in as well. But I'm gonna try to come up with a good number for you guys. And these are numbers that I've heard people use, not necessary that I agree with. So let's do a range instead, actually. How about that? Okay, I'm not going to say what the topic is yet, Will. But you might know. You may know. I think this is going to say a lot about the player.
You can thank me later, Sid.
Is this the actor, the voice actress that does Ellie from The Last of Us?
I
Or
don't know.
she does the voice, I think she's just one of the performers in Vox Machina as well. It sounds like her. Again, the volume is actively lower for me too, so I can kind of barely perceive her, but it sounds like her. She's great. At any rate, Will, what is the correct land count in a Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Now I know that, well, Sasaya. Yeah, what is the
Yeah,
Sasaya?
it's 83, Patrick. Of course it's 83.
But no, really. So I've heard left and right on what the average CDH list deck will use land count wise, and it's all over the map, dude. And it's a weird thing because I generally gravitate towards the upper 20s. Like I like to have between 27 to 29 lands. We're talking CDH specifically. So you could answer this however you choose though. Like don't let my opinion sway you. But I've heard CDH players say that they'll play 24 to 25 lands in their list. And I play CDH, but I think that's kind of nutty. Like, the only list I think should be running few lands like that is Anya Falconwrath. That's the only one I can think of, because you kind of need to cut out lands from that list for it to be effective. But, Will, what do you think is like a good average? You're probably not looking at the poll, so I've got like some numbers on there for the audience.
The number I go to that I usually gravitate towards is 30. 30 is just kind of my go-to number for a land count whenever I don't want to actually think about a hard number.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to agree with anything between like probably 27 to 30 depending on the deck.
Okay. Agree with anything from 27 to 30, he says. I generally, depending on the deck, I think I usually start with 28, and if I add an MDFC or something else that's like a mana equivalent, specifically land equivalent, then the general land count could go down so long as it still averages out to 28. But 28's been my sweet spot. Although, we've had games where the RNG on my part's just been shit. Like I've just drawn, we were playing a F&M recently where I drew like 15 planes in a row, right? Which was insane. And then the combo cards I needed were at the bottom of my deck. And that just happens, I guess. That was kind of messed up. Like I would really want to pile shuffle my deck after that experience, but then again I was playing in a digital space, so it was whatever the hell happens, I suppose. Rog Sai runs 25 to 24. Rograk and Silas Wren.
I mean, fair. Like the
yeah.
average CMC of a card in that deck is like 0.2. It's some ridiculously low number, so you don't need to hit lands in that deck.
Wait, well, what is it really that low? I haven't seen like the typical Rog Sai list.
It's a Turbo Nos list that runs like 2 polymorph effects. It's like 2 4-mana cards, a 5-mana card, and then everything else is like 1 mana, 0 mana, with the occasional 2 mana.
What's the polymorph target?
I think they go for
Broodlord.
The thing that makes everybody discard their hands on the end of the turn, or Brozicap.
Oh,
It's
is it Master of Cruelties?
Um,
No.
some ROG size I know don't go for the polymorph
No,
thing
no,
though,
no,
and
no.
I like the non-polymorph better because you can run Dockside and Thorkel.
But that was
I
that
think
was the
that's the
deck I
better list.
made. That was like the first deck, Sire of Insanity. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that's so weird, dude. This is actively being played right now?
Yes, Sire of Insanity is one of the versions, but I think the non-polymorph version is better just because Dockside and
Okay.
Thorkel are too good.
No, I know, I agree with that. I made this as a meme. I made like Rog Tavesh Sire of Insanity as a meme. I remember someone like some other people did variations of that. But I don't know. It seems pretty good. Like it seems actively good once you have the only body on the field. But you know, normally if you conclude Sire of Insanity and someone else has had a play and it was like a really strong start, you're kind of just shafting two players and they will likely have like the right solution for you. Hopefully not. But yeah, if like they get their commander out and their commander just draws them cards, then the Sire of Insanity doesn't do too much to that player and it's really only stunting two other players. I don't know. I haven't played against a Sire Insanity list in a minute. I haven't played a Sire Insanity list in a minute either. I gotta say, I wouldn't be too excited to see one though. Let's see. Rog Sai is all in crazy deck. Polymorph is not run nowadays.
Figure.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I don't see how that can be competitive. I like if your polymorph target wins you the game, yeah. But if it's like Sire of Insanity, then I don't know. What are your thoughts on Sire of Insanity, Will? Or just mass discard? How do you feel when you don't have a hand to play with?
Uh, Hope you have draw and win the game.
That's it? That's your only
Or
solution?
play Oscar. Play Oscar is also just another good option.
Oh, Oscar's an oddity. How many
Yeah,
are people playing Oscar competitively?
not really.
Is it Oscar
Honestly,
with a
more people
K?
potentially should. So
Are you suggesting right now that Oscar is a underrated CDH commander?
yeah, I mean honestly, Oscar's kind of underrated. The fact that Oscar lets you basically double your hand by using windfall effects is really, really nice. And the fact that you can just insta-win if you have a Necropotence ever is just an easy way to win the game.
So Oscar, for those that don't know, Oscar the Grouch is 3 generic and demure, human wizard, 3/3 body. That's 5 mana, Pat. That's insane. I'm never going to cast this. The spell casts 1 less to cast for each different mana value among cards in your graveyard. So
You are now casting it for 2 mana.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, 3 less to cast. I mean, you've got mana values 1, 2, and 3, potentially 0 with that Lotus Petal. This makes sense.
Or
And
that
what's
land.
right, or that land you dropped in there. That's easy. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. So what is the general strategy for Oscar again? I feel like we talked about this in a separate video, but
So you do Dark Deal Windfall, anything that lets you get value by discarding cards every now and then after doing that, you'll basically be able to play with additional hands. And if you ever hit Necropotence, you pay all of your life but like 3-ish, and then you go to cleanup step. You discard to hand size, and then Oscar now has a bunch of triggers allowing you to play everything that you discarded on the cleanup step, and then you pretty much just play everything that you just got off of Necropotence and win the game.
so it's Zur with 1 less color. I mean, it's like he seems like he's not dependent on Necropotence,
Yeah,
but
so
you kind of want
he
Necropotence.
Necropotence is like a one card win con for Oscar, but the idea is that you can do the whole Shimmer Zur thing, but you don't need Shimmer Mirror to do it. You just have a commander that does it. It's Oscar's like a
Mm,
kind of good grindy commander because he does just net you extra cards for free most of the time. He feels a lot like a Tasigur more than a Zur.
do you use are there any good like consistent permanent based loot effects to be playing?
You could do what is it called? The Jace is something. I can't remember the name of it, but
Oh,
it's pay blue, tap it, and everybody windfalls.
oh, do you use Jace Vryn's Prodigy?
not Jace Vryn's Prodigy. What is it called? It's like,
You don't want the little
like
blue boy?
yeah, you
Draw a
don't need
card,
that.
then
You
discard a
you
card?
could use the little blue boy if you want. It is like net a card more or less. Every looting effect is net a card off of Oscar.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get him down early too. Eh, it's okay. Is the
Oscar's
flip
just an
side?
interesting and pretty useful boy. That's all there really is to him.
You know, I enjoy off-meta stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna play Oscar though. We'll see.
Yeah. I do prefer playing Xur over playing Oscar, but Oscar can do a lot of things that most decks just don't. So Oscar's good.
People are playing Tevesh Crom. Yeah, Tevesh Crom's kind of fun. It's always been good. It's just a draw and draw. You really can't go wrong there.
You put a hat on the hat, you put draw and draw.
Let me just get as much draw as I can get from these two commanders. Nimrus and Garuda. I don't think I've ever seen a Garuda play. Garuda is your... Wait, you mean Nimrus as the commander and Garuda as the companion? Have you seen this build, Will?
I have not.
Flash flying when you cast your first spell during each
I
opponent's
do know
turn,
Nimrus,
the
and
top
I
two
think
cards
I
of your
know Garuda,
library.
but I've never seen the deck.
She seems like good value, actually.
Yeah,
I feel like we might have talked
people
about
use
her.
as people
Yeah.
use her as a Rust deck just because you can pitch things into the graveyard kind of consistently, and also Flash Commander. Just keep up all your mana for interaction, then when no one does anything, flash in your commander.
Yeah, get some value. Unless there's a rule of law effect in play, right? And then you get screwed. Because they're like, oh, that's your one spell. Garuda. When it enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of the library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under among those cards? That's interesting. Well, I suppose this is just a way to win with Thassa's Oracle. Like, you're blinking this immediately. Your starting deck contains only even converted mana cost. Oh, well, that makes it easy, doesn't it? That seems kind of cute. I don't know. I'd be curious to see how well that deck plays. But it definitely seems interesting.
And you can still run the good fast mana.
No, Nimrus and Garuda separate. People are just playing Garuda by
see.
itself.
Huh?
Oh, you know what? It would need to be that way, but isn't Nimrus 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
I
She's
mean, to be
technically
fair,
not
yeah,
in the deck. She's in the command zone.
you can just use what's it called, Displacer Kitten with Garuda and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of fun, I guess. I don't know. Would you enjoy
And
that,
then-
Will?
Maybe. There's better things for Displacer Kitten in my opinion, so I wouldn't do it, but
What is the best Displacer Kitten deck? Is it just Atraxa?
well, I mean,
Not
Atrax
even.
is
Not
fucking
even, right?
insane.
She's just good by
Um,
herself, I guess.
Yeah, but Abdel is debatably the best because it's a build a paradox engine. So with Abdel, because every single time that you use Displacer Kitten or trigger Displacer Kitten, you get Abdel flickering all your fast mana, and then you're drawing 2 cards, which you probably drew a non-creature spell, which lets you draw 2 more cards and make more mana, and draw 2 more cards and make more mana, and then you have an army of 1/1s. I mean, there's a reason why there's an Abdel deck that's just Polymorph and Displacer Kitten, and then have fun. And Eldrazi Displacer as well.
As a backup, do those both generally operate the same way?
Yeah, Eldrazi Displacer is more consistent because you just need 3 generic mana off of artifacts to win the game. And Displacer Kitten is just kind of wheel and pray, but you usually get there.
You know what? I like this setup, Will. I kind of want the monitor. I want a different monitor frame. I'm just looking at the cosmetics of this. After this boss fight, I think we can call this one and chill for the rest of the day. All of us.
Alrighty.
But yeah, thanks for participating in this stream. Guys, if you have anything you want to talk about, let us know. I think more of the conversation can be around the games as well, and that's totally fine. I've been tracking this game a little bit. Will, it seems like you're kind of far in at this point. Is this your Third boss fight?
Third boss, because you had the introduction snake, and then you had the giant angry fish, and this is the third one.
It's so satisfying how quickly you're moving.
Yeah, that is just kind of the game itself, though. Like it is very fluid and very well designed. Fuck you. But
I
it's
love.
very fluid in the way that it moves, so you can do really cool and crazy motions. It's like Mario Odyssey.
Oh, you know what? We should play the new Mario game and then have the channel taken down.
The high on shrooms one.
Yeah. Well, I was actually contemplating buying it to just play with Allie, but I don't know. I haven't played a traditional Mario game, and God, I don't even know. It's been freaking ages. You know what I could really get into? I could actually get into like Castlevania game or any sort of like Metroidvania game, newer one. Castlevania.
Have you ever played Hollow Knight?
I've not beaten it. I've played it though. I was fine with it, dude. I don't know. I like the collectability aspect of like the what is it? The Aria of Sorrow and obviously Symphony of the Night, like those style Castlevania games where you'll grind a specific enemy unit to get whatever sword they might have or whatever piece of armor. Something about that is just very satisfying. It's why I like Monster Hunter. Like, I don't mind killing the same monster 100 times if it means the satisfaction of getting X item from them to finally build that one thing. But there is a system baked into Monster Hunter that makes it more difficult for you to get the actual item you need. Like, they'll take inventory of your inventory and know that you need a Rathalos diamond or whatever it might be, and just hoard it from you. That shit annoyed me. That's ultimately when I wound up stopping Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World is good though, and I didn't play the expansion. Probably recommend that. Don't watch it. Yet here we are. Check your bulk. Don't watch what? You don't watch
Stream.
Oh, well here you are. Thanks for joining. Solar Ash, if you've never played it. Will's about to beat the Lost Century. I'm assuming you're waiting for that last leg to lift.
Oh, freaking mines. I'm waiting for. Oh wait, he dropped the thing. Hold up, I didn't realize he dropped the thing. So he usually attacks 3 times, but sometimes he attacks less than 3 times. This boss's whole gimmick is that in between phases, he has to shoot this beam a certain number of times to lower his guard so that you can climb onto him. This isn't a latch point. I still landed that. Holy crap! No.
Oh.
Okay, that slowdown screwed me over. I assumed that he was gonna have a hooking section where I could latch onto him, but he did not, and I died because of that.
So I've pretty much played every platformer Castlevania, right? Like none of the 3D ones. But Castlevania series is probably my favorite game series. I think I've probably logged in the most hours in all of those games. I've beaten them all multiple times. I've played them all multiple times. I'll go back to the Game Boy Advanced ones often because I still own the carts. There's the DS one, which is so it's Aria of Sorrow on Game Boy Advance, and then it's what, Harmony of Dissonance or something on DS. It's also quite good. I don't like that the art style changed from the more traditional Castlevania art to more anime-esque characters in the I wouldn't say expansion, the sequel on DS. It's still a really good game though. Order of Ecclesia is really good. They're all so good, and a lot of like the lion's share of them I would say are on your Game Boy Advance, which I don't know. I still own my Game Boy Advance SP, Will, the small penis. I still own it, but no part of me, that's a lie. A large part of me wants to get an analog pocket, but no part of me wants to spend the money for an analog pocket.
Enough of your riddles, Echo. I have to save my planet.
Oh, you would help me. You interlopers drove this spear.
So you are trapped here. Help me out.
My torturer offers me a deal.
Torturer. I'm not your enemy, Echo.
Your every move intensifies my pain. Everything you touch turns to ash.
And that's halfway through Solar Ash, so I'm halfway through the game already.
Nice.
I skipped like all the collectible things though.
What are the collectibles?
So it's the different suits because you have to
Oh,
collect 4 pieces of each suit for your comrades, and there's a whole bunch of storylines where you're helping people in the Ultra Void kind of cope with everything that's gone on with them.
gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
for instance, in let's see. So with this, I was supposed to help this cat alien species, this that got sucked into the Ultra Void. I was helping this one lady cope with the fact that the rebellion that she caused to help save her people ended up killing her family, like her direct family. So
Oof.
that's like one of the plot points behind this, where you're kind of helping people cope with loss, in addition to trying to get everything to work out to save your own planet.
Mm.
But yeah, so oh, that guy's trying to shoot me. But yeah, that's Solar Ash, and there's
Yeah, it
a
looks
couple pretty
amazing.
big twists.
It look like this is exactly what I like to look at when I play a game. It kind of reminds me of old school Zelda, a mixture of that and I was telling you earlier, Risk of Rain, just with the sort of alien planet vibe going on. Although this
Yeah,
is far better looking than Risk of Rain. And I suppose it's a little like Journey. I've never played Journey, but so far as what I've seen of that game, like wide angle view of your character, very expansive world that you're just gliding through. But yeah, well, actually, I own a copy of Journey. I've just never played through it. But yeah, maybe we'll
okay.
play Metroidvania next. I freaking love them. You can spend a lot of time just grinding the gear though, so we would need to come at it with an approach of just beating the game and using whatever we find. Although it'd be fun to do like an all knuckles run of Castlevania Symphony of the Night or something. There's so many cool fist weapons in that game, but I don't know. My favorite weapon in that game was the Mablung sword because it worked like a shield rod. This is before there were you'd have to buy like physical guides. There wasn't really good online resources for the game, or at least reliable ones. But I remember I discovered that you can use the Mablung sword like a shield rod and just be able to summon the powers of shields with it. Maybe it was like I had a jank copy. I don't know where we bought the disc, but it worked on our copy of the game. I can neither confirm or deny if that's going to work for you now, but I would love to play through that game again. The new Prince of Persia looks good. I haven't seen a. Is it a remake? Do you know what he's talking about? Do you know what Mateus is talking about? I don't know if there's
I
a.
don't know the Prince of Persia.
I played like the OG one on PC, but I haven't played any of the modern 3D ones. Actually, that's a lie. I think I watched my brother play one on like Xbox years ago. But guys, that's it for we can close this one out here. That's it for Gamers on Games talking games. I think you get the concept, right? Hopefully it works for you. But I think I enjoy this. We should probably play competitive games or cooperative games so that we're both
We
involved in the gameplay in some sense.
we can do Risk of Rain 2 next, and I can show you all the stupid stuff that I found out.
We do own a Risk of Rain. That would make life so much easier. We can play Risk of Rain. I don't see why not. It looks like a Metroidvania. It's the OG one. So the one I'm thinking about was on PC, and it was like a left and right side scroller, and you'd have to stunt to like get through obstacles. That's the one I remember, but that's an older one. Like my dad just had a copy of it. Man, yeah, we could play Risk of Rain. We'll have a think, guys. If there's a particular game you'd like to watch, let us know. I'm totally down for like playing the what is it? Oh shit, that ruins your camera. Will,
Oh well, dang.
that's okay. I'll close your
I'll
camera.
live with it.
Yeah, yeah. But no, we could do you wouldn't be able to play these, I guess, unless you had a PlayStation 5. But there's always like the game of the month, like the free game on PlayStation. It would be kind of fun to just make that the PlayStation Gold membership game of the month, just the game we play, just to see if it's any good and review it at the end of it. That could be a fun concept. But yeah, if there's a game you guys would want to play, let us know in the comments. But bye-bye. Bye-bye for now. Just wanted to have a relaxing Saturday morning before I begin the rest of my life. We actually have we're going to do some escape rooms tomorrow. I'm very excited for that.
Neat.
Yeah, it was like supposed to snow really hard, but it's changed to rain apparently. just overnight. It's changed terrain.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing these escape rooms tomorrow. That's like the brunt of my day tomorrow, and then potentially Korean barbecue. Super excited for that. What do you have on your agenda, man?
For me, it's setting up my new computer and then making sure that I get all my settings for my equipment now that I moved rooms. So I got a new computer, so I should hopefully be able to run stuff better. And then after that, it's going to be making sure that everything is running properly.
What is the new computer?
Don't know the brand name. I'll have to check it out. I can send it to you later.
Does it have the hottest latest tech? I don't know anything
Kinda,
about
yeah.
PCs.
It's
Yeah, I
got
don't.
it's got the fancy stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how you're well, I mean, we're not running anything too extreme, I guess, on this program, so you're probably good there. But guys, if you hopefully enjoyed this, feel free to leave it with a like. I enjoyed myself. I was very distracted by the gameplay, I'm not gonna lie. I might be distracted. Oh, hey, 28 to 30 is the correct land count, by the way, in case you're wondering.
There.
I guess on average that's
I
like a
like how
fair.
nobody selected 24 to 27.
Yeah, I feel
Oh,
like
it's
that's a
only
little
3 votes
nutty.
though.
Yeah, that's only 3 votes, so that's not firm. I'll put that up on the community post tab to see what people say, but we can like round off the numbers more accurately. They'd better they'd be better if they didn't pick such weird and ugly art for most of them. Last comment I got from Do you like secret lair drops? I don't think the art is ugly. Some oddities in there. It's not
It
ugly overall.
depends. Some of them are like really freaking weird.
Hmm. Yeah, quirky. I'll say quirky. Oh no, art's subjective, Will. Okay. It just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for the next weirdo. But guys, we'll
I'm
see.
sorry, but if someone makes a piece of art that looks like they're tripping acid, I'm pretty sure that qualifies as weird.
I guess so. Oh wait. Oh no, I don't want to show you my glimmer or shimmer, whatever it is. There's like there's a reward system with sorcery. Will you need to know? There's like this code on the back, and you can scan it, and it gives you glimmer or shimmer or some sort of like redeemable online
Currency
currency
for a
with
thing.
sorcery. Yeah, I don't know what the thing is though. I hope it's like a playmat. I don't know. The playmat for this game is massive. Like you've been playing it digitally with me, but the mats over there now, it's so absurd, dude.
It's like cereal box toppers. Like you just build up all those things and you turn it in for like a Shrek hoodie or something like that.